What's good, YouTube? Today I've got 9 different movement types that I'm going to be sharing with y'all that you should be doing in your workouts so that you can get stronger and move better. Now, the caveat before we start this is that if you're working out and training for sport or performance specific things, you've still got to be doing those outside of these workouts. These are just going to be the gym specific exercises that is going to build the capacity for your body to move better and stronger. At the end of the day, you still got to train for whatever it is you're doing. So things like your change of direction, your speed, agility, and quickness, your acceleration work, deceleration, change of direction, anything like that that requires you to move your body in a specific way. Still got to do that outside of this. This is just going to be the gym movement patterns that is going to help you move better and give you the ability to do that. So you can take what you learn from the gym and then transfer that to whatever thing you're doing. Also, do not get fixated on one specific type of movement pattern unless you have to do that, unless you specifically need something to get good at. So let's take powerlifting for example, right? Powerlifters only have to squat one way. There's a competition way to squat, so they have to get good at that specific way to squat. Same thing with their type of deadlift, whether they're doing a sumo deadlift or a conventional pull, and bench press, right? They barbell bench press. So those are generally going to be their focuses. However, if you do not have a specific focus like that, explore the different types of ways to move around those movement patterns. There's more than one way to squat, there's more than one way to deadlift, there's more than one way to bench. So you can go through my videos, look through my shorts. I've got a lot of different exercises and things that I show you guys that you can use and experiment with, find out what works for you, and then build your own program from here. At the end of this video, I'll also have a sample plan or a sample structure of how you can set up some of these workouts to get different results. First things first, we already touched on it, squats, right? Squats to build your bilateral strength, which is going to help with your quads, going to help with your glutes, going to help with being able to engage your core. There's more than one way to squat. Barbell squats, if you're a power lifter, you can also do front squats, which is going to help with more quad focus and emphasize a little bit more of your core. You've got things like your overhead squat, which is going to help with your shoulder stability and balance and also require a lot of coordination to be able to do. So that's just 3 different types of squat variations. You can also do box squats, you could do goblet squats, you could do goblet box squats. It's a matter of finding out what type of exercises that 1, you can do, and then 2, just what you can be able to consistently do. So squats is going to be our number 1 foundational movement pattern. These aren't going to be in any necessarily as a ranked order. These are just going to be the list of them. So this is just the first one we're going over. Number 2 is going to be our lunges. Lunges are different from squats because they build more unilateral strength, so individual leg strength. So when you do a squat, you have a stable and symmetrical position. Lunges, you are in a less symmetrical position, and it's going to build individual leg strength, training your body to move from those different types of positions. So squats, we've got this position, and then lunges and lunging, if you can imagine that. Again, there's a lot of different types of lunges you can do. You got front lunges where you're just stepping forward and then coming back to the starting position. A reverse lunge, which would be stepping backwards and then coming back to your original position. You could do split squats where you're more stationary. You could do walking lunges where you're cycling your legs through, and that is going to build a little more rhythm and timing and coordination and how to move your body. You can also do them as reverse walking lunges, so walking backwards and getting that rhythm, timing, and coordination in your body. So that's going to be our second foundational movement pattern. And then we've got our third one, which is going to be hinging. This is going to focus more from hip hinging and developing more of our posterior chain, so those backside muscles, hamstrings, glutes, erectors, back muscles, things like deadlifts, different variations. Again, if you're powerlifting, you've got sumo deadlifts, you've got conventional deadlifts, you could do staggered stance deadlifts, you could do single leg hinges, you could do good mornings with a barbell, you could do them with a safety bar, you could do them with holding a kettlebell goblet style. So those are just some of the different variations you can use. Those are going to be all of our lower body foundational movement patterns. So that's 3 of them. And then an honorary 4th mention would be our frontal plane lateral movement. So things like a lateral lunge, which is going to build your adductors and glutes and also your quads, and getting that side to side movement, which would translate better to lateral movements and changing direction in sport. So like lateral cutting, lateral type movements, building the strength to be able to drive off that leg and be able to quickly change that direction. Technically not a foundational movement pattern, but a very important one that should be in all of your training programs. So we've got squats, lunges, hinges, and lateral lunge type movements. Next, we get into more core focused. These are going to be bracing and rotation. Bracing is being able to develop isometric strength, so being able to fully brace and engage your core from different ways to resist any sort of unwanted type of movement, maintaining that neutral spine. And then you have rotation, which is going to be transferring force from your lower body to your upper body, or upper body to lower body, just rotational type movement, getting good at that. Again, you combine lateral like lunges or lunging type movements, and then rotation. So that is individual, and then you can transfer that to your sport, right? So when you plant that foot and then you're able to rotate your body or step out to the side and quick turn, right? So you're combining movements like a lunge or semi-type of lateral lunge and then rotation. So being able to train those parts individually and then put them together when you get to sport or performance, practice, whatever it is that you're doing. Those are going to be 5, 6 if you count the lateral lunge. And then our last 4 foundational movement patterns we have are going to be horizontal pulls. These are going to be exercises that's going to help build our lats and our traps and our back. And then we have vertical pulls, which is going to help with our, again, lats, traps. Horizontal pulls are going to be exercises like rows. That could be barbell rows, that could be single arm dumbbell rows, you could do chest rows, you could do, cable machines, hammer strength machines, whatever type of row that you want to do. Again, there's different variations of rows. I got some videos where I talk about like different types of rows, anti-rotation rows, rotation rows, and then like your traditional rows. The pattern itself, just get good at the rowing, horizontal pulling pattern itself. Same thing, you've got lat pull downs, you've got hanging scaptions, you've got pull-ups. Those are going to be vertical pulls. And then you also have vertical pulls that can happen from lower, so like things like shrugs or, hang cleans, high pulls, anything like that. And then our last 2 are going to be horizontal and vertical push patterns. So again, like power lifter, bench press with the barbell, you could do dumbbells, you could do single arm dumbbells, you can do them at different angles, flat bench, low incline, higher incline. And then of course vertical push patterns, which are going to be things like your shoulder presses. Again, you can do military press, you can do dumbbells, you can do Z press, you can do different grips, whether you're out here, you can do neutral grip, you can do supinated. Those are going to be all of your foundational movement patterns to be incorporating. You should be doing all of those movements each week in your training if you want to get stronger, move better. And then of course you would have things like your accessory work, which is going to be specific to you. Of course, I would suggest doing different types of shoulder movements so you can build good shoulder strength and stability. So like your lateral movements, lateral delts, strengthening those posterior delts, rotator cuff type work so you can have strong and resilient shoulders. And then, of course, like your planes of motion, so lateral lunges, different ways of rotating your body. And that is going to be it. If you do all of those types of exercises, those 9 or 10 if we're including the lateral lunge, if you do those 10 exercises each week in your training, you will absolutely get stronger, move better, improve your performance, or you can do it as ways to adjust for your performance and training goals. So if that is more muscular endurance based, you don't necessarily care about the strength, but you want the endurance, those will help as well. It's just a matter of how you structure the workout. You've got the movement patterns themselves and your other inputs, your reps, your sets, your rest periods. All of those things will dictate the physiological result that your body adapts to. All right, that's all I got for today. And I will have like a couple day workout setup structure that you can do for a week. And if you just do that, like take the pattern itself, try the different exercise variations that you want, and enjoy the results. All right, that's it. And I will see you guys on the next video.